It was just a perfect summer's day. You know, the surf wasn't particularly huge. It was beautiful weather.
We were all really young. I think it would have been about 90% under 20, and we had about 5 people whose first patrol ever it was on the day. So it was really massive. We were already showing them the ropes. We were showing them, you know, where the flags go, where the rips are.
Just seemed like we were probably 1 to 2 foot of swell, so you kind of come to the beach not expecting a busy day. The morning kind of, went swimmingly well, and we got to about lunchtime, and we started to notice influx of people kind of coming to the beach.
My prime job is just to be the one who sort of stands on vigil at the water's edge. I'd noticed these 2 guys sort of entering the water on sort of the southern side of the flags, and they were big guys, like they were big and strong. I sort of kept my eye on them. They were just mucking around and having fun, and they were just a little bit sort of to the southern side of the flags, but there's no danger. And then they just within a moment just got further out and into deeper water, and then just clearly one of them was in distress. I ran up to the tent to raise the alarm, and then ran back down, grabbed one of the boards myself, and then started to paddle out the back.
All of a sudden there was probably about 3 or 4 of us who had just run for the nearest board.
And I looked around and I saw that Angus had run out, Ian was getting ready on the beach.
I shot out with a tube, my other good friend Lockie shot out with a tube, and then we had two individuals on boards. A member of the public had helped one of the other patients come back in.
Grabbed a board each and we paddled out, and we got out there, it was relatively quickly I guess. Got out the back, we can't find the other person, and there's one more person out there but we couldn't see him.
We just knew that we only had seconds to really find him.
And we sort of scattered everywhere, and I just by chance was probably closest to the patient. But I saw like a faint silhouette below the water, and I remember seeing just little bubbles coming up from below the water, and I just instinctively sort of jumped off the board and I went down underneath to try and pick him up, and thankfully pushed him up above the water and sort of yelled out to the others that he's over here, I've got him.
You just have no idea how he could possibly have managed to get underneath him and lifted him and up out of the water, and then with the help of young Jack to get him onto the rescue board.
Yeah, he helped me sort of get him on the board, and then everyone else came over, and it was great. We could sort of stabilise him on the board because he was completely out of life. He wasn't breathing, or he was also blue.
And at that point, it had really kicked in that, we've got an unconscious patient in front of us, and he was frothing from the mouth, so that was immediately, wow, I've never been in this situation.
We got the team ready on the beach, and obviously it was extremely nerve-wracking waiting for them, and he brought him back and he was limp, and he brought him straight to us on the beach, and that's when we started working on him.
Angus kind of just, without even thinking, knowing the patient was unconscious, not breathing, went straight into compressions.
I remember doing the first couple of rounds, just vomit coming from his mouth, and still no signs of life. You never want to be in that situation. It very rarely happens, so when you're in the centre of it and someone's life is in your hands, you're sort of saying, geez, I need to lift here and try and help him.
And then all of a sudden, after what seemed like sort of 6 rounds of CPR, he just took a breath, and at first I couldn't believe that he could possibly be alive, but then he just took breath after another.
And started to see the rise of the chest, which was just the biggest relief.
It felt like forever before he responded, and when he did, we are so fortunate that the paramedics managed to arrive quite quickly, and I was quickly just jotting down on my leg, right, 1 round of CPR, 2 rounds of CPR, and then I had rescue breaths up here and compressions down here. So when the ambulance came, they said, how many rounds did they do? And I said 6. Everyone else looked around, I said 6. Like, look, it was 6.
It seemed like a miracle that he was actually breathing and at that stage alive. And then his mate then collapsed. We weren't at that stage aware whether it was secondary drowning or whether he was just in shock.
So we have the second patient on oxygen, a second ambulance has been called, and the average time for an ambulance to get to our beach is 45 minutes, so that's a very long time. So I had this patient in my lap on oxygen for 45 minutes. I received a text message from the patient directly to my phone a few days later, and effectively it said, "Hi Sophie, I just wanted to thank you. My friend and I are okay. Thank you for doing what you're doing. Promise to keep doing it."
When you look back at it, all those young patrol members just so well drilled, and my two boys and their friends all involved in the rescue, I mean, everything just worked so well. We love being part of this surf life saving movement because it gives us the ability to save people's lives, to allow people to enjoy the beach.
Like in a scenario like that, no one doesn't know what they're doing. Everyone knows that they're a part of a team, and there's a great team atmosphere here at Whale Beach and in Surf Life Saving Australia.
Without the training, which costs money, without having the equipment, the defib, the oxygen, the rescue boards, we can't do our job to its fullest capacity. And we need some financial assistance to be able to carry out our duty in the most efficient way that we possibly can and save lives.
I was ready that day because of my brilliant team around me, my brilliant family.
I was ready that day because of all the training that I had undergone at Whale Beach Surf Life Saving Club.
I was ready that day because of the training that I received through Surf Life Saving.
I knew I had the best team around me with the best training, and I knew I was ready that day because of that.